For me, it's all about TEFCA, Trusted Exchange Framework and Common Agreement. And there are several reasons for that. First of all, TEFCA is now live in the US. There are 7 organizations that have been designated by the Office of the National Coordinator as Qualified Health Information Networks, or QHIMSS, and they are sharing data now.
First, I want to mention from an AI front, in healthcare, we have been using machine learning, we have been using data for years and years and years. And so AI isn't a new thing to us, but I think the challenge is how to use it to drive the entire business. So certainly we hear people talking about outcomes and the work that can be done that had been done sort of manually historically, but I get really excited about how AI is going to streamline the business of healthcare, how we can get better information to patients, how they can connect more effectively with providers. And I want to hear how people are going to be using the data to drive those sort of innovations in their organizations.
So obviously, yes, AI is number 1 right now, but I think number 2 is social determinants of health because of how valuable it is, to improve somebody's outcome. So social determinants of health is definitely number 2, for sure.
I am really excited because we're already starting to hear a little bit about it, but I think it's the move from platforming into ecosystems. Healthcare has, for the last decade, been working on at least moving into digital applications, so apps, and the app economy and the app ecosystem, because healthcare was pretty far behind from a digital perspective. Then we moved into platforming and how we can actually start to build out platforming technologies to integrate everything from interoperability to interconnected solutions with downstream partners. And now we're talking about ecosystems. And ecosystems, I think, are incredibly important to consumerism because we have the ability finally to meet people where they actually are, which is on their native phones, on their televisions, in their living rooms. So being able to surface provider services inside of people's homes or on their native devices and provide real-time insights based on their connected devices or sensors. So moving into ecosystems is going to allow us to surface all kinds of companies coming together to create a real consumer experience.
Yeah, we agree that AI is going to stay as the number 1 topic over the year. And AI is very important to us at Samity. We use natural language processing tools to help our knowledge management workflow more efficient. But to address your question, what is the number 2 topic? And my answer is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Knowledge management. If it's not as number 2, it should be. And let me tell you why. So to get the most desirable, accurate, and reliable AI models, you need to feed it with high-quality clinical data. And the sound knowledge management is the key. Clinical data is just record. It only gets you so far. But the knowledge management, the knowledge bases can enrich the clinical data for the AI training purposes. For example, if we see that a patient is receiving a medication, say pembrolizumab, there are a lot we can infer from there with the semantic knowledge bases. First, it's an anti-cancer drug. Second, it's for some certain type of cancers, such as triple-negative breast cancer. So with knowledge management at Samity, it can get your clinical data, get AI model, or even your chatbot application to the next level.
Yeah, you're right. Number 1 is AI, but when we talk to customers, the number 2 thing they always talk about is don't just give me better products, give me better productivity. So look, globally, we have a tsunami of data, workflow friction for physicians, a lot of administrative work. There's in many places shortage of clinicians, and then on the other hand, an increasing demand on care for aging population, and by the way, also as the millennials are having babies, a high demand from the expectation from the millennials. So you have this perfect imbalance where high demand and limited supply. And that means that there's a lot of tension in the system. And what our customers say is, for example, for imaging, they say, I don't want just more pixels, I want more productivity. I don't want just better products, I want more productivity. So we are really focusing, listening to the customers, and in their ask of productivity, this has become a key focus for us, is how do you take friction out through innovation and design, make the right thing the easy thing. So that's what we hear as the number 2 thing, and Philips wants to be a productivity partner for our customers.
Number 2 is connectivity and IoT. As the cellular chips get much lower and lower cost, all devices are going to be integrated with cellular to make it really enable home healthcare. And that's what we're doing at Wellbe. We're integrating cellular chips in all of our future form factor devices.
Well, at Optiv, we've recognized that AI is going to be the number 1 topic talked about. And since we're a cybersecurity solutions provider and cybersecurity leader, we believe that securing AI is the second thing in line behind AI. As a healthcare organization puts AI into their environment, they're going to start to think through what are the controls they need in place to maintain patient safety, to maintain data privacy and security. And those are difficult concepts. While AI is just software, it's software that can make decisions. And because it makes decisions on its own, you have to wrap it with the necessary controls to protect patients.
Well, we hope that it's an additional attention on creating a space for workplace violence prevention, where that's key. So we've seen across the US, 28 states that either have existing or pending legislation to do a better job of protecting their healthcare workers. We believe that we are a part of that safety strategy, so that not only are there laws in place to protect them, but that we can get help to them faster by utilizing this solution as well.
So if I may, I think that AI in the healthcare context is not the number 1 topic, should not even be the number 2 topic. The number 1 and number 2 topics, and number 3 and 4 or 5 should continue to be the delivery of proper care to patients, the delivery of services and capabilities to clinicians and caregivers to continue to provide care. I think that changing from that position is a disservice to the whole industry.
Well, I think AI has a long runway to go still. I think generative AI you're hearing the buzz even here about generative AI. The next big thing would probably be interactive AI, where the AI is going out to work with other technologies, other sources, and actually trying to find its own answer to questions. So I think interactive AI is going to be the next thing you're going to see in the next couple of years.
Well, first of all, when we talk about AI, we are talking still about how much money it can save. We're talking about $150 billion kind of saving to start with, right? And the second thing comes with a lot of responsibility and comes with a lot of governance. And we want to make sure it's ethical and safe, and that's one part of the story. Now, what is the next thing, right? Utilizing this, for example, our own products, right, for behavior and mental health, for Serenity, this AI is going to be how it's being utilized and for the right purposes. For us, it's going to be more on the conversational AI, and it's going to be the next level of when I talk about our products with the Serenity and with the EMR system like CarePlus and everything, we are using this for specific purposes. How it can actually do most of it is more on the predictive modeling or on the specific with our bot system, everything how we're doing with AI.
I've thought about this, and I really have to say, if I'm honest, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all AI. And there's kind of subcategories of AI, because you can talk about budgets, you can talk about whether people are recovering in their budgets, some are, some aren't. You can talk about interoperability, but really, talk is about AI, and it's the subcategories.
Well, since we all talk about AI, I honestly feel that its access to large amounts of data is what we need next. So with that, I feel we'll have to figure out how to get data from more than one healthcare system at a time. So with that, again, it's just my opinion, and it may not be exactly what's going to happen, but what we should be talking about really as an engineer, I assume that it should be, how do we get that data? How do we get healthcare systems to talk to each other? How do we get them to share better? And perhaps blockchain is a solution.
I think number 2 is going to be more about the hardware, right? AI has to be integrated with hardware. It's going into multiple different spaces in the healthcare industry. So I think a lot more conversation is going to be had, like how are we going to integrate it and what type of hardware we're going to integrate it with. Consumer grade hardware usually changes 1 to 2 years, right? So they're pushing that. So in terms of the embedded roadmap, which Intel also has, that's more long-term availability, 5 to 7, 10 years. And so how do you integrate something that's fast changing? It can continue to change and iterate and get better into a hardware, Intel embedded roadmap that's going to be available for a long time and not change every 2 years. So I think there's going to be a lot more conversation, like how do we do this better? There's also thermal issues to consider in terms of how this product is going to be integrated into the computer, fanned, not fanned. So I think a lot more conversation about how to do this better, effectively, and eventually lower cost is going to be part of the conversation. Yeah.
Well, there are two primary issues that compete for number 2 position. One is, of course, health data security, because as health data is recognized as an important currency, more and more people are going to want to have their hands on it, and malicious attacks are going to happen, and therefore it's important that we build robust security frameworks to protect health information and therefore support all the data analytics and AI ML work ongoing. The second, on the positive side, is going to be value-based care. It is important that we leverage data and analytics in addition to our good understanding of health systems and how we can change health systems to better improve the value of the care we bring to the communities, including quality care, health equity, lower cost, and a better patient experience and provider experience, basically addressing the quadruple aim of healthcare.
So I think number 2 is, AI is still pretty immature for the environment, especially the healthcare environment. And with that, I say that because trying to leverage that at and virtual nursing is the number 2 thing. So virtual nursing is a big thing that everybody's talking about, how to implement it, how to bridge the gap with the shortage today. How do we blend that virtual nurse with the bedside nurse to really take some of that burden off the bedside nurse? AI has been the big topic and part of that, but I don't think AI has really gotten there all the way yet. And virtual nursing is going to come in with the more smarter algorithms. It's going to transform the way nurses deliver care overall in a way that is going to, there's going to be certain tasks that are going to be at the bedside and then certain tasks are going to be virtual, but they're going to need AI to be able to scale that and grow that. But virtual nursing is really probably, I think, the biggest topic we're hearing about. And how are we going to help those bedside nurses stay at the bedside and really take care of patients and increase the quality, even though the ratios are changing in a different way. So it's a different way of delivering care overall.
I'm hoping it's innovative, but I think value-based care and its adoption is basically accelerating at quite a significant pace, as we are sort of we're seeing large health systems expand nationally. We are seeing payers really acquire more and more practices. So this integration between payers and providers and how value-based care comes to fruition is probably the second most important piece in healthcare that's going to be talked about over the next year.
I'd say that's probably going to be IoT, because IoT is growing at nearly 20% per annum compound across the healthcare industry. And we're seeing now AI adopted into IoT medical devices, right? So this is obviously the next big concern.
I think it still may be AI. Yeah, it is a number one topic. In terms of number 2, I think you're going to see a lot of technologies, a lot of automation come together with the use of AI. I think you're going to see, I don't want to say the word reduction in staff. I think you're going to see a happier staff. I think you're going to see a lot of burden come off of staff with the use of AI technology. So probably about the number 1, probably the number 2 topic to be talked about in the next 12 to 18 months is overall staff morale and just getting people more efficient. So I really think outside of technology, because not a lot of people are focusing on the burden on said staff, with all of these types of communications that are coming in, the information overload. I think that's really going to be the topic. It's a topic now, today, so I think we're going to see more of it within the next 12 to 18 months.